I'm your host, Knowledge. Today we have another special guest for y'all. Straight from our city, Camden, New Jersey. Tell us who you are.
I am Lachey. My handle is the Chief Cultivator. And I guess we'll get into why necessarily that's my handle, but that is certainly where you can follow me on Instagram, chief.cultivator, and Lachey on Facebook.
Okay. Thank you. So please tell us what you do.
So, I guess where should we start? Such
long list.
Really, many hats, but I wear them, proudly and gladly and purposefully. I should state that's most significant. So, I am a small business owner. I assist startup and small businesses with the formation process in regards to, building their business plans, business credit, things of that nature. In addition to some life coaching, so that's what I do on my for-profit side. Prior to that, I founded my nonprofit organization titled Cultivating Camden back in 2017.
Wow.
Yeah, so our direct mission is to eradicate poverty in Camden City by providing its residents with resources that are essential to improving their quality of life and sense of the community.
That's powerful.
Absolutely. Group economics, want to talk about all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's a variety of things, but mostly everything I do is towards my passion to just help others.
Yes.
And so the term cultivate, for people who may not know, means to better, to refine, to enrich, to improve, to educate. So I gotta acknowledge just the fact that you're creating this platform for individuals like myself who are really doing great things. It's just wonderful of you, and it's needed, it's essential, conscious conversation.
Yes.
What we got going on, and that's very significant. So I just wanted to shout you out again for that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all in a nutshell. Helping people. That's what I do, Chief Cultivator.
And that's amazing, being of service. Now, we spoke about this before, and respectfully, like I've pointed out in many of my videos in my last Spotlight Series episode, a lot of us come from the same neighborhood, if not the same neighborhood, the same struggle, the same traumas, And what we're doing in this generation now, it's like monumental for real, because it's so many of us in our age bracket that are literally out here breaking the cycle. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Changing the game. But with that, a lot of us is self-taught, Absolutely. We didn't have the resources. We didn't have the family structure or the parents, in some cases. And to be where we are now, to be here talking, and to be where we are at in life, especially where we came from or where we were once headed, right. You know what I'm saying? It's truly a blessing, and as some would say, it's a testimony, and we definitely want to touch on that. We want to speak on that.
Amen. Yeah, just having those friends out east, mutual acquaintances, like you said, and it's crazy because you never know who's like-minded around you. I guess this would speak to the importance of networking, things of that nature.
That's the importance of it.
But yeah, so definitely got to shout out the home.
That's love. Y'all already know. But yeah, this is where it started. The 200 block, Utah, out east, Camden. Me and the guys growing up doing our thing, Not necessarily negative, but we all doing whatever we got to do to survive.
Absolutely.
Fighting our demons, battling our demons, but simultaneously we were surviving, going to school, meeting new friends, and chilling, being teenagers in the hood. And like you said, that was around a time where, we were still walking hood to hood, hitting the movies, hitting the mall.
Exactly.
It was much different than what it is now.
Honestly, that was really house party day. Can we take a moment and say rest in peace to Mir and rest in peace to Royan?
That's a fact.
That's that's a whole nother conversation that I hope we could touch on. But not to get sentimental.
Yeah, nah.
But certainly, like you said, that survival and things of that nature.
Yeah.
But the dynamics are different now, and because we were comfortable to walk hood to hood, go to the movies, I think that might have even been like successful house party days. Like Simone used to have the Argus parties, like none of that is going on.
Those that know.
For real, you was there at the basement party. But yeah, it's totally a different dynamic. So just it made me think about that, hearing you just reflect back on all of the the life that we once lived, and then it's always a post that goes around. It's like one day you literally just stop going outside, or you stop being on that block, or you stop, and you kind of don't realize it. So just hearing you reflect on it is like,
and just to touch back on what you were saying, being on the 200 block, we had so many mutual acquaintances, and we crossed paths so many times, but we were never properly acquainted. We never knew each other during that time, and to meet each other now, to know each other now, and build, to find out that we're like-minded is like, damn, like going back to what you said, the importance of networking. So like we crossed paths all those times, and we missed each other's energy and things like that. Furthermore, going to what you said about Mir and Royan, definitely rest in peace to y'all. Two fallen brothers, definitely gone way too soon. You know what I'm saying? Way too soon. And that's another important reason on what we're doing, not only here, but what we're doing behind the scenes, the shit that people don't see. You know what I'm saying? I was thinking about something recently. It's a popular saying. Who knows how old it is? It's like, being a product of your environment, which in a sense we all are, Furthermore, I heard a few years ago someone say, not only are we a product of our environment, but a lot of us, if not all of us, are also a product of our experiences.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And the good, the bad, the ugly, all of the experiences, including all of the loved ones or acquaintances that we lost along the way, those experiences contributed to who we are and what we're doing now.
Absolutely.
Trying to change the narrative. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And that's why it's so important, because once again, we talk about times where it was just fun. You could walk hood to hood. You can be in a hood with like a different group of people, and like you ain't gotta worry about no bullshit. You know what I mean? Successful basement parties where we was habbies, lit, you know what I mean? And every part of the hood, it was their little shit, different groups had their little issues. But besides that, like compared, you don't hear about none of that now. You know what I mean?
So true. You touched on a very essential point with the last few things you just said about how like we could all mix. It's like it wasn't like that. You was able to be from downtown and you chilling out east. You was able to be walking from Pollock and felt comfortable doing it. You know what I mean? Now it's just totally different dynamics. So I agree with what you're saying.
Different, and like the kids are different. How they were taught and raised is different. Which is a whole nother rabbit hole.
Yup.
But once again, now these kids are a product of their environment and their experiences in these times. You know what I'm saying? So, and the way shit is going, that's why it's more important, and the things that we're doing here and what we're doing within the city. Speaking of our city, Camden, New Jersey, that's where we grew up. You mentioned you grew up downtown.
Yes.
I'm sure we all lived in different parts. I mostly grew up out east, and like she said, we were able to connect. You know what I mean? No problems. It was love all the time. You know what I'm saying?
For real.
So diving in, what led you on this path? Because once again, like I said, we also have mutual acquaintances that we lost, and I'm sure you have personal people in your life that you've lost along the way, for different reasons, or by different causes. But definitely a loss is a loss for sure. And like I said, we wasn't totally negative, for us to have the mindset that we have, that had to be at the core somewhere. But once again, we weren't given the proper resources to express these things or to tap into these talents or skills and things like that.
Certainly. You're dropping a few different gems on me.
I'm sorry.
So I'll try to respond to a few different things. But one of the things, so yes, being born and raised downtown, I lived there all my life, Ward 1. My grandmother, she lived in the house I was raised in for about 50 years. So my mom was raised in the house that I was raised in. So that's how long my family roots. My family roots are downtown for real. That's still downtown. So I'm still in the hood.
No place like home.
No place like home. I love it there in a literal sense. And so speaking to specifically those childhood friends, because you also, I get to the point where you mentioned, like, how did I get into this? But like I said, you mentioned a few good things, right?
Yeah.
We definitely going to get into this. I'm really excited. But the portion of those losing those friends is such an unfortunate thing, because now that we are older, and like you said, in our core, it has to be some positivity for us to be where we are today. And I honestly believe that's in all of us too.
Yeah.
I think it's more so the matter of how we're conditioned, and so it's kind of shut off, or it's kind of tucked in, or some people say I'm numb to certain things that I can't even react in certain ways. So with that being said, I think we all have it inside of us, but it's the matter of being in that, or being amongst those people or in those environments that bring it out of us. And if you around people who 9 times out of 10 want to go on a drill, want to go rob, want to go, whatever the case may be, then that's going to certainly flock together. And so when it comes to the death of the childhood friends, I think it's more of a, like, I never want to get into a blame game when I kind of start to touch on these topics, but I have to, because we're kids.
Come on.
We kids when we 15, 16, 17, yeah, we out there doing grown things, but we're really kids. Mentally, even emotionally, financially. Like, even when I think about, just imagine elementary school, when we cracking on each other in school. Yo, your sneaks is busted. Your sneaks is body. Yo, and it's a matter of, like, I'm a kid. I have no responsibility over my shoes.
Yeah.
I have no means to provide for myself to get, my hair done in a certain way. But we cracking on and making fun of each other about it. And it's, again, not having the understanding that, we're kids.
Yeah.
And so when I think of, once these young men get into the position of feeling like they have to provide for themselves by selling drugs, going on the jugs, robbing, whatever the case may be, it's the matter of the lack of resources.
Yeah.
And so if we don't have it in our home, the next, people who I feel that are, responsible for ensuring that are the other elders in our life, such as, our educational institutions.
That's right.
As well as our governmental institutions. And I think it's that lack of resources to programs, the lack of resources to jobs, the lack of resources to just quality education is what sets us back initially.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to losing those childhood friends, I'd say the word unfortunate dramatically, because knowing that we love them, so we wouldn't be friends with people who are bad people. We wouldn't be friends with people who went away, who out here just nutty, who out here just don't have sense. These are loving people. In the matter of, they just don't have the resources to thrive in the way they best could. So now they're results into becoming a product of their environment, and unfortunately that leads to the death of of them, or their demise. So, again, it puts me, so that with that particularly, that's one of the reasons of me getting into this field of cultivation, I would say, is having the understanding of, why we even did certain things that we did at that age, or why we even chose to make certain decisions. And again, understanding and not to blame anyone particularly, like, the system that are designed against us, but it's like, again, that leads us into these, situations that now, unfortunately, we lose our life over nothingness, for real. So.
And not to cut you off, just to speak on that dynamic, the stereotype against our people, our black men, our black women, our children, it's just crazy. And, respectfully, there are a few bad apples that make it worse, but it's not always like that, and that's not always the case. But we have to dive deeper. We have to, find out the context. And just like you were speaking on, I totally agree. A lot of times we don't have the resources. And recently, I spoke about, in one of my recent videos, I spoke about the no man in the house rule. I came across a video, 15-minute clip, talking about the no man in the house rule back in the 70s, when women were offered welfare and welfare benefits. But on the other end of that, there couldn't be a man in the house. And then around that time started the mindset of I don't need a man. But what that did to our family structure, what that did to the children and the generations to come was, you know, man, unfathomable. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
And it really affects us for generations on becoming excuse me, becoming products of our environment and our experiences. And just like that, also speaking on the resources, we can really speak on that because we grew up in public housing, we grew up in Section 8, we went to these public schools, we grew up in this curriculum. And another thing I've always said, and even more so now, being where I'm at in life mentally, spiritually, all that, I overstand that, you know, children are so innocent, but they're also so creative. You know what I'm saying? The school systems and the curriculum, which is not made for us. You know, it's not made for us to win at all.
Okay.
But also, it's not based on us. The system, school, how it's structured, is structured for us to be better employees or better inmates.
Absolutely.
It strips away the child's creativity. You know, early elementary school, don't do this, sit down, get them conformity. You know what I'm saying? And it starts there.
Absolutely.
And that, especially depending on your situation or your life outside of school, you know, that's just preparing you for where a lot of our people occupy today, either the graveyard or the cell.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's 100% correct. You said a variety of different great things again. I start putting the great things into substance. But yes, in response, starting from like the welfare and how, you know, those systems were deliberately designed to set us back, the father not being in a home, and to have the more knowledge of our history that, you know, I acquire is almost it's so demeaning to see that someone would keep such information away from us intentionally. And once you understand how that information actually empowers us, now you see like, oh, okay. Okay. So they had a plan. They had multiple plans because obviously, do we believe that, you know, once we were held captive for 400 years that we was just going to be free? Literally, no. They thought of a plan to allow us to believe we're free, but we're still captive educationally because we are not receiving the same knowledge and information that they're receiving. We're still captive financially because the wealth gap is still we're still it's super below the poverty line just as a culture, as Black people. When we spend trillions of dollars, we can keep going. It's so much. It's so much. But I want to touch on all of the different topics that you said. So in addition to that, in those deliberate strategies that they use to keep us impoverished, the matter of now, because we aren't educated enough to be able to apply for a job, to be able to pay for a good housing situation, it's a trickle down effect from a system of people who created a system, again, deliberately designed against us. So, like you said, without having those jobs, having those finances, having that education, that leads us to the situation of likely being incarcerated or dead because now we're trying to get it by any means necessary. And so what that does for us as a community, one, even like you said, just repeating the cycle. When it gets to, when we talk about fatherhood, right? When they were, one, taking the fathers out of home, because we can talk about mass incarceration too. Like we could start from the mass incarceration to the welfare, and how those things begin to impact our community. So from them bringing in the drugs, them bringing in the guns, then them arresting our men, then them keeping our women stuck in these subsidized locations. All of that, again, is like by design,
Yes.
and because we are not educated to realize that we aren't breaking these cycles. And so I guess that'll be my response to that.
So, Shay, what was your first business or business venture or endeavor?
So initially, I actually share my background because this is actually a story that can really help a lot of high school students. So initially, with graduating high school, I went to college, Morgan State University, HBCU.
Okay.
However, though, upon arriving there, I did very well. I made dean's list. All of that. Unfortunately, the nursing program at Morgan State wasn't accredited. And at that time, I knew nothing about accreditation. Yeah, my guidance counselor, when I contacted her, she literally was like, yeah, I dropped the ball for you and one other student. Like, yeah, so basically I would have been getting a degree that necessarily wouldn't have been certified, in a sense.
Wow.
Yeah, from the state board, yeah. So I had to come back home.
If you don't mind, what year was this?
This was 2012.
Okay.
Yep. So came back home. I continued to pursue nursing. I ended up working in the medical field. I worked at both primary care, virtual, as well as virtual urgent care. And so I did enjoy working in the medical field. There was a situation, and it's crazy because we talked about this in the beginning. And he's actually from East. I didn't have a relationship with him, but he truly, his death definitely brought me to a place of why do we have such a disregard for life, or why do we not have a high value for life in a community? So his name was Pop, from East, and he had got shot first, and then kind of the whole community was in support of him being nursed, back to health. Man, I'm bawling, crying. I don't know him. I think he's maybe younger than me a few years, not sure. But he was funny. We would comment on each other's stuff on Facebook and stuff like that. But again, I didn't know him. I didn't have a personal relationship with him. But just seeing him nursing himself back to health, seeing the support behind him, only for him to then be murdered. That did something different to me during that time. I just really, again, didn't understand why do we have such a disregard to life. Like, to be saved in such a way, how do we still let him be taken in such a way? And so from there, I always see the Facebook memory a lot of times, but I made a Facebook status and said, you know what? How do we get Camden the same way as Cherry Hill? From the violence to the education to the homeless issues, everything that's going on in there, why can't it go on here? And so from just that kind of ranting and venting conversation of a status, it led me to say, okay, you can vet these type of things through public service. And so that's what led me to start a nonprofit organization. And so, so that happened in 2017. And so initially with starting Cultivating Camden, I had this large mission. It's so funny when I still see old documents on my laptop now. I had a mission I wanted to help high school students. I wanted to help teenage parents. I wanted to help convicted felons re-enter back into society. So people might remember my first photo shoot when I had Lil Bro. Shout out to Lil Bro. But he had the jumpsuit on. I just had a mission to really dream big. That's man, we want to talk about that too. Seriously. But I just really, really had a mission to eradicate poverty in totality in Camden City. And so my starting point was because this was one of the most relatable issues to me. So when I started, I went back into the high schools and I was assisting high school juniors and seniors with college and career readiness. So basically making sure that students aren't going off to schools such as I did, not having full understanding of what they're signing up for, understanding the financial process, because that's the thing too. Even now, we're in the month of May, and I love seeing all of everyone going to college, especially people are getting excited about HBCUs. I love it, love it, love it. Education is essential. Let's not forget trades, and we're going to talk about trades because that's where my nonprofit is at now in life. But I think with all of the celebration about college, there's not enough real conversations about affording it. College is expensive. Like when we're talking about $12,000 to $25,000 per semester, that's who parents living in power. We're all impoverished. Exactly. How can we afford this? And then again, we have the schools who have, okay, we got signing day. Let's get your photos and Where's the funding? We need
Yeah.
the scholarships.
Yeah.
Where's the funding? So I think that, again, me getting into that field of work first, it was essential because you've won, and we did multiple pancakes for progress, what I call them, where we had roundtable talks with juniors and seniors.
Really?
Yeah, we cooked them breakfast, laid it out, 2 potatoes, bacon, eggs, pancakes, all that good stuff. But it's the matter of to have that in-depth and realistic conversation about, do you feel prepared and equipped to go on to the next phase of life?
That's
do
right.
you feel that you are prepared for life upon graduation? And most of them said no, if not all. Literally, most of them said no. I am not prepared leaving this high school, and I do not feel equipped to go on to my next phase of life.
Yeah.
And so, again, that speaks to the inadequacy of our institutions. That speaks to the lack of resources, because again, where are the the other organizations who have those SAT prep courses and things of that nature, so we can really make sure, okay, these kids are equipped to the point where, all right, maybe they could get scholarship funded for having a SAT score. If as a city or a school, we can give them money. Let's put them in the best position possible to receive the money. But again, we're really ecstatic about college in a community, but we don't have the realistic conversation of the affordability. You know how many of us go to school and come home? You know how many of us even go away without even knowing what we're truly passionate about? And so that was a major part of my program too, in regards to just teaching or exposing us to different career pathways. Me going to college for nursing, even working in the medical field, that is something I would have not. Happy Nurses Week to all the nurses, by the way. Happy Nurses Week to all the nurses.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you, yes. And again, I worked in it. I worked during COVID, all of that. I literally resigned from the medical field 2021 January.
Wow.
So I've been a full-time entrepreneur for 2 years now. And again, love the work, something I wouldn't see myself doing forever. And I say now spiritually that my calling from God perhaps wasn't to help people in the hospital, but to help people in my hood. And so here that leaves me still helping people, just not in that type of capacity. And so when I'm speaking to the youth, it's a matter of, what are you even passionate about? Because no one even exposed to me. I probably would have went to college for social work, public administration, something else than nursing, but I wasn't even exposed to these different options. And I think that that's another problem with our youth. Like, nowadays they only know rapping as a career or influencer as a career. Again, we're not exposing them to all of, like, even with my younger sister, she's a junior, like, she'll tell you, she'll vouch for me all day. Okay, so you're interested in the medical field? She's like, yeah, I'm thinking about a travel nurse. I saw it on TikTok. Whoa, okay. Travel nursing. All right, cool. So she's learning all the, the different requirements that it takes to become a travel nurse, the amount of money that they make, how long she'll need to go to school. But I'm like, what are the medical fields? What about a gynecologist, an oncologist? What about urologists? Like, there's so many different medical fields, like anesthesiologists. But people just say nursing. We don't even realize the hundreds of different positions in that medical field.
And it's important that we fill these fields. We're lacking in these fields already, and that's another way that other ethnicities or cultures are ahead of us.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But please continue.
And like you said, they're so ahead of us that they're intentional about, one, sending their people to school, but even making sure that people can afford the schooling. That's why, like, when you're in college and you may be there with someone that's a foreigner, they're not laughing. They're specifically for a reason. And that reason is because I got to get this education, and this education is going to help me help my people.
That's right.
And I'm only here because my people have helped me. I hear all the time about different Mexicans, how they do the money thing, where they like, we all put $100 a week. One person a week take a different pile. That's literally the same thing. That's foreigners, group economics, working together.
Right.
We don't practice any of that.
We don't practice it. We're not taught it. It's just not there. But it's possible. Very possible. And just to touch on a little bit on what you were saying, because, man, it's so true. Just the resources is not there, and it's important that we talk to the youth or we target the youth because they are the future. I tell a few of my guys, tell a few of the guys, like, we're 32, 33, 34, 35 now, you know what I'm saying? We becoming the old heads. Yeah. And I think we even spoke about it a little bit before, some of us sit back and wonder, like, yo, back in the day, we used to have these barbecues, family get-togethers and things like that. Like, it was shit at the park, What happened? We're them old heads now. We're the ones that's...
For real, we the host.
Yeah, exactly.
We the cooks.
But we're not doing it, and there has been a disconnect between the elders in our community and the youth. There used to be a level of respect. There used to be a level of guidance, and now there's no respect for the elders. We don't get any guidance from the elders, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And man, all that affects us monumentally in our community.
Absolutely. Before I go back to the nonprofit in the college and career readiness, I want to touch on what you said about just the respect we have for our elders. Like, I was so astonished to see when I think it was about 4 or 5 kids from Philly. They had beat an elder black man with a comb. Yo, we would have, like, again, we did bad shit growing up. Never. We did bad shit. Man, we was never beating up an old black man ever. With no... Yo. Ever. And so, again, the dynamics is different. Totally the respect is different. And so you're absolutely right about that. And then wrapping up with the college and career readiness. So, yeah, it's really essential because it's like kids are being passed. And even through our generation, like, people will tell you, like, well, I never went to class. All I had to do is sign in. Yeah. Like, nah, literally. And so the fact that... And now I literally just read an article that reported the absentee numbers for high school students in the city of Camden. Our days, we were just showing up and signing in. And nowadays, they're not coming. Like, literally, like 66%, 78%. I will pull it up on my phone and show you the article if you would like. So now, again, the dynamics are different. It's to the matter of, like, they're not even showing up in the institutions, and that's how far removed these kids are from, just reality. Yeah. So again, with us and the work that we were initially starting off doing, it was really paramount for me to make sure that other youth are graduating high school and feeling that they are equipped to move on to that next phase of life. So whether if it was college, whether if it was a trade, whether if it was the workforce. If you might have been in a situation where, I need to get a job first prior to, because I don't have necessarily money, then okay, cool. Then let's make your resume. Let's get you some mock interviews going. Let's make sure you know how to dress to impress. And so, so college and career readiness. Now, we're in a space where we are facilitating a pre-apprenticeship program, which will be like, this is fresh on the press right here too. So this summer, we'll be taking our first applications for our pre-apprenticeship program. We are teaching the trade of construction to youth in the city of Camden. Yes, so we have a space on Hatton Avenue.
That's amazing.
Thank you. Yes. So we have a space on Hatton Avenue that we're currently renovating, and youth are going to be able to not only get the different type of career pathways and the exposure within construction, because you may it may have been cool, working on the electricity box, but you might have really gravitated more towards the plumbing aspect of it. Right. So now we have a career pathway and a relationship to where you can just go to Pinko Tech and you don't have to, search and find out, okay, well, I did like that. I did find interest in it. How do I do it? Because that's the thing too. Sometimes you have people who just come into the school and they do a seminar, and now it's like, okay, I was exposed to information, I may have been intrigued by it, but how do I move forward? Exactly. And so that career pathway puts you on that page to where, all right, so after you do get that license from Pinko Tech, now here's a registered apprenticeship program where you could get those journeyman hours. Or now here's the job that are, who are ready to hire individuals who have at least a associate's degree, because you went to, after our program, to Camden County for that construction management associate's degree. Or you might have been someone interested in the architects that we exposed you to, so now you're going to school for design. It's a variety of things, but that is our Cultivating Camden's pre-apprenticeship program.
That is so fucking great and so important. And not to dive off topic, just to tap into that and going back to what you said a few minutes ago, because it made me think about myself. Like, I wanted to go to college. I had the credits and I had the grades to go to college. But what deterred me from college was the debt. I didn't want to be in debt. I was learning more about credit and things than and being financially literate, which was all self-taught because we lacked it, the resources, because we lacked it, the guidance. And once again, like what you guys are doing is so important and so monumental because like we didn't have nothing like that then. We had a few guidance counselors or a few teachers who cared and had to push, but or we had a few seminars at the school. But it's like how do I take those steps to follow my dream or follow what I want to do? And not only was we weren't getting it from the schools, it definitely wasn't in the streets, and a lot of times it wasn't in our household. And not to even make that sound malicious, because you know all of our family dynamics is different, all of our struggles and traumas is different. We all went through different things, but you know, I have brothers and other siblings who kind of still hold animosity towards our parents for mistakes they made in their life. But I'm one of the only children who, once again, not only understands, I overstand. They didn't have the resources.
Yes.
They didn't have the guidance.
Absolutely.
And like, yes, where we can hold animosity and be mad about certain aspects of that, but understand they weren't given the right tools or resources to be the proper parents or to provide for us properly. Absolutely. And then you know, there's so many other things in our way, like this. Once again, from our communities, the hood, the projects, you know, the redlining, you know what I'm saying, to the school system, to the curriculums. Like even now, we were speaking about some of the schools that are publicly funded but privately ran. We were just talking about that, and it's like, how are these things going on in our community? And man, absolutely, it's just so important what you guys are doing. And once again, this is the importance of the Spotlight series, and important what you're doing, because the impact you're making not on individual lives within our own community. You know, absolutely. We have a lot of people who go outside of our community to start there, but you have to start at the foundation. And like even what you say, y'all still are in the same area where you grew up. You're starting at home base, and it's so important because it's our people, it's our city, it's our children that need it.
Absolutely. And this is our community. Yes. And that's the thing that we have to understand too. Like, no one's going to save us but us. That's it. No one's going to save us but us. And speaking to the point that you were making about yes, those career pathways. And then in addition to that, our program will also be exposing youth to, obviously, entrepreneurship. So you may not want to go to college for construction or to trade for construction, but that doesn't mean you can't invest in real estate.
Yes.
That does not mean you can invest in real estate. In addition to that, though, that means we have to teach you about your credit, because we know credit is leveraged through real estate.
Yes.
And so, again, this is a program with a full wraparound services that are going to equip youth and prepare them for life after, you know, whatever they decide to do, and they get physical on-the-job construction training while they're doing it. So I was going to speak to the part of how it wasn't in our homes. A lot of what we do was certainly self-taught, as you say. Yeah, and I take my hat off to you. I want to clap to you when you say that often, because that's real. Like, these books that's sitting right here, that's all we need. Remember when we were kids, they used to be like, knowledge is power. Yeah. Or if you believe, you can achieve. Yeah. Literally. Literally, like those cliche sayings, they're so, like, I live by it today. Like, and it's the truth. So, you know, just taking that initiative to read and educate ourselves. Our parents, they, like how us growing up on survival mode, our parents were in, I want to use the word reconstruction, because that's a little before time of our parents, but just trying to make that adjustment to even living, period. Like, actually, I'm so excited. In 2 weeks, we're going to Morven, North Carolina.
Wow.
So I recently looked up on Ancestry, my great-great-great-grandparents.
Really?
And yeah, so exciting. Especially with this journey that I'm embarking on. You know, in the next few months, I think it's important to feel empowered from my ancestors. And so we're going to take the trip down to North Carolina. And just seeing, I can actually show you, I had screenshotted. So my grandparents were, they were farmers and gathered. Yes, so they had to fill out, what Ancestry showed me was actual census. There were about 4 different census. And they were done, obviously they weren't done electronically and things like they are now. And so my grandparents really had to write their name. They wrote my grandmother's, these were my great-great-grandparents. So they wrote my grandmother's name, so they had to write their children's name, and then they had to write their occupation. So like to really see, I cried, I ain't even gonna lie.
Yeah, that's powerful.
I cried, yes, I cried seeing just like the fact that my grandmother, it said gathered produce. And it was just like, wow, that just brought me to a whole nother realization of like where I am today and what I'm here to do and what I must stand for, because of just where I come from. And that's the thing that we don't realize. Seriously, we don't realize like we've all came from somewhere. And yes, life may feel more free now, but we cannot ignore how not free that shit wasn't for our family. Like, yes, our great-great-great-grandparents are no longer here, but we wouldn't exist without them. Why wouldn't we honor them? And so when it comes to the community, in regards to if we live here, and this is, you know, where we claim to love, we quick to rep my hood, I'm from here, I love here. What does that really mean to represent there? If it's still poor there, if people still dying there, if people can't eat there, if kids can't play there. And so why isn't it us bettering and making our community, you know, as it should be, best fit? So yeah. So coming from that, from Morven, I can't wait to drive back just to see my roots, because where I am now.
Yes, and just to add on to what you said, that's so amazing. Congratulations. I hope y'all have a safe and beautiful trip.
Thank you.
The importance of knowing thyself. They say you have to know where you came from to know where you're going. You know what I'm saying? Furthermore, to pay homage to our elders, those that, if it wasn't for them and their perseverance, we wouldn't even be here. You know, another video I spoke on about how, you know, respectfully during sex, you know, when a male ejaculates, or, you know, there's millions of sperms that come out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're that one that hit the egg.
For real.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that race, that struggle, you made it here. You're here for a reason.
For
That's
real.
purpose within itself.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But for those who struggled and went through so much for us to be here, it's so important for us to tap in to see where we came from, to pay homage, but also for empowerment. You know what I'm saying? It's so important. Damn.
I agree. Yeah. I'm excited. I am. I know I'm a ball crying. I'm definitely gonna vlog the experience for sure.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna vlog it, and it's again, it's a thing of like to just see that. Like, I started doing history of like when was slave free, because again, my grandma, her birth certificate said like 1899. Yeah, man. It got, I want to show you. It got like 1899 on there. So I'm looking up like, okay, when was slaves free in North Carolina? How long ago? Because I want to make sure what my people was doing or what they might have been going through.
Just another thing I want to tap in. I don't want to dive too deep into slavery because it's a whole other rabbit hole. But one thing I acknowledge about slavery is that, you know, if it happened the way they say it happened, right? Our people coming from another land, another place, we worshiped a different God. We had a different tradition. We had different cultures. We had a different diet. You know what I'm saying? And going back, because this ties into the youth even today, I understand with the slavery, one of the most fucking detrimental things they did to us. They wiped out the elders, the priests, not only the most powerful men and women who were in the tribes or things like that, but what they also did when they murdered and genocide our people during slavery, they cut off our connection to our past, our history. So once we came to this new land, the youth that was left, the ones that were brainwashed and taught and forced into enslavement from all the different places that we came from, even those of us, our people, that were already here inhabiting the Americas with the Native Americans, they wiped out our history by wiping out our elders. Therefore, we only had what they gave us. And to this day, they control our education, they control our food, they control our water, they control our kids' education. And some of them, in some cases, they control our lives.
Very much so. Oh, don't leave out the legal form that still exists of slavery, the prisons.
Oh, come on.
Legal slavery.
Come on.
Okay?
Hey, some would say 9 to 5 is paid slavery.
I'm not opposed to that. No, but seriously though, and understanding what all of that means, like you said, if we don't know our history, we don't know where we're going. And I think that, like, even just understanding why a lot of us live a hard life. Why do we live a hard life? We may say, okay, I ain't got no money. Why may you not have money? You may say, okay, well, I don't know necessarily how to go about getting the money. And then let's say if you do know how to go about getting the money, because another plight that I speak upon during my nonprofit throughout these college and career readiness conversations are the fact that we do have people who do graduate with degrees. I know I can list 5 social workers right now, MSWs, who are unemployed. So even them of us who are able to get educated, we still aren't getting hired because we aren't owning the institutions. We aren't doing the hiring. So that's a whole, a larger part of the conversation in regards to remember back that we were king and queens. Remember back to Tulsa that we owned thousands of businesses.
It didn't start with slavery. It did not start with slavery. It started with royalty. Hence why they had to knock us off our pedestal.
Facts.
Come on, listen.
Facts. And even just knowing it's kind of falling off now. When maybe you intimidated, dudes still sag their pants. I don't know.
Some do. Some do. Okay. Shit, you'll catch some 40, 50-year-olds trying to, man.
I can't. But just imagine had we known, or if it was truly instilled in us that king and queen, we might not even made that a trend. We might have thought like, no, I'm a king. What, I wear my pants like this and my blazer like this. We might not even thought like, no, I'm gonna show my drawers and my ass, even if they got holes or if they got like. And so again, not knowing the true value of us ourselves, and even us as a culture, not knowing just even the value of our dollar. Like, let's speak to how, like, okay, we do claim to be broke, but again, statistics still say that black people spend over $1 trillion. So we got it somewhere, the black dollar. Exactly. So we have it somewhere. It's the matter of why isn't those dollars circulating amongst our community? Like, I remember someone, I think it was a Jewish man. He said, this dollar, you'll never see it. And he was speaking to a black man. Basically, he began to elaborate that within the Jewish community, we only spend our money amongst each other. So when I say you'll never see this dollar, that's because, and this is the term group economics that we mean, practicing wealth building amongst us as a culture is essential. Circulating that dollar within our community. So when he gets his dollar, he's going to spend it at that Jewish restaurant, who's going to take it to the Jewish clothing store to buy her shirt, and then that Jewish clothing store is going to take it to a Jewish hairdresser to go get her hair done. Why are we not practicing that in the black community? We have to support small businesses. We have to shop local. It's essential. It's essential. I can't express it enough because, too, understanding just how it works regarding wealth building in the sense that, all right, if I give you $5 and then you go take your $5 and you have a party, and now at that party you hire... You hire a chef, a black chef from the city, $2. You hire somebody else for the other $3. Again, that's you, one person, now giving money to 2 other black people who should then take that black dollar that they got from you to another black person, and again, that's how we continue to build amongst each other. But instead, we go to spend our money elsewhere.
Gucci, Fendi, Nike, Chinese store.
Exactly. That's the point that I want to speak to too. We can actually mention the merch while we're here. So, and it was Teron's brilliant idea.
I'm modeling, y'all.
Exhibit A. Poverty is the motivation for cultivation, and that's my tagline for life.
So powerful within itself, but please continue.
Absolutely, I'll elaborate on that after. But with the merch, mine states, "Was born poor, gonna die rich."
That's right.
So it doesn't matter where you come from. It's all about where you're going. It doesn't matter your current circumstance as long as you work towards making your situation better daily. But when it comes to merch, and again, I'm a business consultant helping small businesses.
Yes.
So one of the topics that I see go viral often on social media is that, everyone wants to do the same type of business. We're talking about shirts, so let's speak about merch, for example, t-shirts. Okay, for me, I think that it's totally fine that there's a variety of people who want to sell t-shirts as long as it is, they're not the same thing.
That's right.
They're all personalized. Every brand has their own type of, dynamic, their own type of delivery and how, they sell their merch. Now, the reason why that's totally fine for me, just because I remember growing up, I don't know if you rocked it, but when Hollister was a wave, Aeropostale was also a wave.
That's right.
Abercrombie and Fitch was also a wave. And then, Hollister was the wave.
Yeah.
We wore shirts from each of those entities who showed us all similar shirts.
Yeah.
Hollister had the bird, Aeropostale had the butterfly. Graphic t-shirt, Hollister, Aeropostale, and then you got 4 different ones. And so there's nothing wrong with a variety of black entities selling black merchandise.
Yes.
We should be supporting all of these businesses. We wear, shirts on our back every day.
That's right.
Why not?
Yeah.
And so our minds just kind of as a community, we perceive things in such a negative way that we can't even understand. Like, it's cool everybody's selling the same merch as long as, it's different. Yeah. Because when we go to the mall, we're shopping at different merch stores. Anyway.
They're all shirts.
All shirts. Exactly. And so again, we as a community, as a culture, we kind of, and that's the thing of tearing us down too, because that may discourage the next Hollister or Aeropostale from opening up, feeling like, they're doing what everyone else is doing, when it's like, no, you certainly shouldn't view it in that way. As long as it's personalized, as long as, it's creative in your own dynamic, you're not necessarily copying or shadowing what someone else is doing. Certainly sell your merch.
That's right.
And that's it. And so again, I think the importance of it is that, again, we should be shopping local, supporting local, but also understanding that it doesn't matter if there are local people doing the same different things. You might not want to, wear that shirt today. You should still, purchase it so you can wear it tomorrow.
Yeah. And support our own people within our own community and keep our dollars rotating within our community. That's one of the steps that will help us build, you know what I'm saying? And get further, not only as a people, as a community. And that's just so important because, yes, that's a thing. Everybody's getting into the merch thing. And you have, and it's bad to say, but it's a reality. And once again, you already know this is Real Talk Real, so nothing's off the table, and we're going to be real about everything. We're going to address everything. A lot of us still have that crab in the barrel mindset. You won't support someone just because they're doing something you wanted to do. You didn't take action on it yet. And and I'm not going to sugarcoat it either. We all come from the streets. Same like the block, same like drugs. You feel me? Guess what? You go down the street or you go to Cherry Hill or 130. It's a Burger King. It's a Wendy's. It's a McDonald's. They all got burgers.
Exactly.
What makes yours different? What makes you different? What makes you original?